Hey guys, welcome back to teaatfour. I'm Billy.
I'm Christie.
And I'm Lauren, and this is the podcast where we talk all things that normally stay in the group chat.
On today's episode, we talk all things toxic tabloids from the noughties,
Our experience with beauty burnout.
And we give our advice on how to deal with body shaming and self-criticism.
Welcome back, everyone. How are you all doing? How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're getting through it. January is January. And just trying to stay on the positives of everything.
Yeah. What about you, Christy?
I'm just cold. I'm fed up.
Yeah.
I thought this is the coldest January, I think.
Apparently it is, like the
Isn't
first
it?
time in like 10 years.
Really?
But I think this is just like British small talk.
British small talk. I've realised I have no small talk now. I just talk about the weather, the darkness.
Yeah.
Like
Sleep, my sleep.
sleep. I
Yeah.
had a really good night's sleep last night. According to my ring, it was on, 75%.
Your what?
Your
my
ring?
It's an Aura ring.
That's it.
So it tracks my sleep and my heartbeat and my
Okay.
steps.
And then you guys are calling me the tech god. You're the tech god. That's
I know.
crazy.
My mum got it for me for Christmas.
Wow.
So far, it tells me that I'm not exercising enough and I'm sleeping a lot.
Yeah, that's nice. I actually had a really nice thing last night. I went to my first gym class of 2025, which I haven't been to in like a month.
Yeah.
And I really hated it, and I was really bad at it, and my fitness has gone so downhill. And we were doing this child pose at the end when we were winding down, and this gorgeous instructor just did the most gorgeous motivational speech
What did he
about
say?
how, like, in this new year we focus so much on what we haven't done, about changing our bodies and all the things that we think we should be doing, and like how that's not okay. But the fact that you showed up and you moved your body, and we've got the privilege of being able to move, and like, thank yourself for that. Thank
Love
yourself.
that.
Be kinder to yourself. And I need to start fucking crying.
Yeah, instructors need to be more like that, because back in the day when we'd go to gym classes on our lunch break, they would be screaming, "You think you're good enough? I want to see 20 more. You came here to lose some weight." We'd be like
Marigold was
sweating.
brutal.
Horrible,
Marigold round the
yeah.
corner was...
Really?
It was
Oh,
harsh.
I would leave. You ain't talking to me like that. I'm
Yeah.
leaving. I'm like, bye.
We were chickens, and we were in her boot camp of hell.
Oh no!
That
On
we were.
lunchtime, and they come back to work. You guys
Crying,
are
shaking.
crazy.
Yeah.
Needed
Is
at
it
least
do that?
4 Subways and a McDonald's to kind of like emotionally recover.
That is mad.
Jokes. Well, I thought we'd have a conversation this week around something that seems to be a very prominent social conversation, especially on my feeds. But basically, on Sunday night, I watched this documentary, just came up on my suggested on YouTube, about Kate Moss. And it was around her kind of era of when she was deemed heroin chic.
I hate that term.
Which is
so
a horrific
much.
term, but I'm seeing it come up now in like 2024.
Yeah, it's still being
2024?
It's still being used, and like
2025.
I saw like an article the other day where it was like, "Why is heroin chic back in fashion?" And it was
What
like,
is not the drug, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's making.
Oh, I thought it hero. Oh, Christie.
No,
Like heroic, no, babe.
It means basically the term comes from like women who were so skinny they looked like they were on heroin,
Okay, makes sense
and
now.
like
Okay.
I think it was coined in regards to Kate Moss.
Well, not in regards to her, but more so that kind of look of being really skinny, having gaunt features and sunken in eyes, which is horrific. Saying that someone
Looks like that.
looks like that is taking drugs, firstly. But I think in her kind of time of success, a lot of people would go for that as a way of attributing her success to something that like she's doing in a really dark way.
Yeah.
And I was just watching this documentary, and it was showing clips of around that time, and it was mental. There is this clip of Calvin Klein talking about her, and around this time she was his muse, and he said that the best thing about her is that men are really stimulated by the blurred line between a woman and a child,
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
which is why she is so great at what she did. And
Yeah.
that's when she was like 15 years old at this point, and she was modelling like without a top on. And it's like, no wonder we've grown up, like that was in the year that I was born. No wonder these kind of perceptions around looking at each other's weight, monitoring our own weight, commenting on each other's bodies, having this view that like we need to regress back down to our childlike teenage bodies is the
Yeah.
dream. It's like, I'm sure I'm not alone in my mental goal weight being what I was when I stepped on the scale for the first time at 17. And I don't know what it is about that, but it's like I've just got this complex in my head that like that was my smallest, and that's always what I should be going towards as a woman who was 28 10 years ago, and that's not right. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I don't know. I never really. I think that's awful. But I personally don't ever kind of like look at how much I weighed back when I was 17 or 18. I'm just more focused on what I don't know. I don't think I really paid much attention to how much I weighed back then, and now it's more of a focus on like less how much I actually weigh and more just kind of like how I feel and how I look and how I think I look.
Sure.
But I think like my biggest issue is coming from like back in the day when they would do 50 best and worst beach bodies. I'm like scarred to the point at this day where I can't go to the beach with my friends and take my top off.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like that's a moment when everyone is scanning the beach and like looking at you.
That's it. It's where they literally hone in on circles of shame. And I'm doing that in my own brain, my own body. But ironically, I'm never doing that at anyone else.
No, I wouldn't either. Like, I love it. And actually, I started watching the early seasons of Jordie Shaw this weekend. And I was shocked at just how brutal and horrible the guys are. They're calling the girls fucking tramps, fat slags. And it's like, that is actually a real indicator of like, even in like 2010s, 2012s, of like how much people talked about women's weight in such derogatory, misogynistic ways. And it wasn't, you know, people joined in on it. People like on Twitter at the time were kind of like joining in the conversation, and like just all the articles about the Jordie Shaw cast was slamming the girls.
It's so true.
And it was just horrible. And it just kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to actually take yourself back to that time and be like, was it that bad? And then you're reminded when you watch it and you're like, oh, this is absolutely horrible. And we actually, I think, as a general public, owe the girls of Jordie Shaw
an apology. Yeah. I feel bad for them as well because it wasn't policed. Like the fact that someone was editing that and thought, keep that in. And it wasn't like one occasion, it was like a lot of times.
Episode.
And like that Kate Moss documentary, same kind of thing. There was like little facts that would come up on the screen when she was winning like was it Model of the Year award, and it was coming with Kate is only £105.
Pounds, yeah.
Is it pounds?
Well,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Kate is only
LBS, whatever that stands for.
pounds.
Yeah.
Kate says that she finds eating boring.
Yeah.
Kate was discovered when she was 14, a week after she lost her virginity.
Yeah.
And this is what is going out.
Yeah.
There was no protection for people on there,
Yeah.
and like I feel like I don't want to stick up for them, but it makes sense why a lot of people think we can just say these opinions out loud, or think them about other people's bodies or appearances, and it be okay.
This might sound a bit mad but wild, but I guess it does make sense. I feel like, see how you said that you've got this image of you like that teenage, that size that you want to get back to. I think for me, where it didn't affect me is because there wasn't much representation in regards to supermodels. So obviously in school, went to a very predominantly mixed school, there was like different type of body shapes. You had the skinny girls, the big girls, the, you know, curved girls, fine. But I feel like when it came to like TV, like the supermodel thing, because I didn't see myself in that realm, it didn't affect me. So I was just like,
that's really good.
Yeah, so when you're speaking about it, I was like, but did I feel that way? Did I? No, not really. So I feel like my teenage years, I did whatever, fuck all. Sorry. But then now, I think because there's more representation, I'm more like prone to be like, oh, maybe I should kind of look a certain type of way. Really? But before, it was never a thought for me.
Wow.
It's not at all.
You mentioned like TV or like film and TV representation. Like, as I was like looking through all the stuff from the noughties, it's like, remember when Bridget Jones came out and the whole thing was about her being fat? Or like Shallow Hal, where Gwyneth Paltrow was put in a fat suit to play like this unattractive fat person. Or even like Kate Winslet on the Titanic was nicknamed by the director Kate Weighs a Lot.
Wow.
Is that fucking real?
Yeah, I saw that. I read that this week.
That's infuriating.
How disgusting.
Oh my god, she was tiny in that film.
Yeah, like those are the visions, because they weren't. The media and like the fashion industry had such an obsession with being size 0. Like even on like Ugly Betty, it was actually about how much you weighed, wasn't it? And like your size. Like, It was crazy when you look back on it like that. It makes me feel sick. And I don't think it's changed that much.
I don't think so. I think there was like this era of people being too skinny and people obviously having like eating disorders.
Wasn't that show Super Size versus Super
Oh
Super
my God,
skinny, yeah.
Awful.
But like in
God.
terms of your Paris Hiltons,
Yeah.
you know, Lindsay Lohan's that have got too small, and I feel like that was a wake up call for a lot of people that this kind of representation was extremely harmful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we went through a period of about 15 years where like they weren't showing that as much, or we were steering away from that and going more towards like showing bigger bodies and like showing all kinds of like a more inclusive
preaching body positivity.
Exactly.
And that's like, sorry to butt in, but like that also ties into, there was an article I was reading that was supposed to be about body positivity, but the headline read, it was the article that said heroin chic is making a fashion comeback. It was supposed to be an article about inclusivity and like body image, but then they'd spent half the article shaming women who didn't fit into that body image that they were trying to perpetuate. So it's just as bad.
Oh, it's horrific. But I think just my thought is that we had that gap of 15 years where we were trying to avoid showing people that were so tiny, and I think we've gone back to that. I think that people don't want to show people of all sizes to make us at home feel better. Like I admittedly was watching Love Island the other night and I said out loud a sentence that I was like, oh my God, that is horrific. I've kind of conditioned myself to think this way. I was eating my dinner and I said, oh, I better put on Love Island so I can remind myself of how I need to look good in a bikini in the summer. Because everyone on there is stick thin.
Yeah.
Everyone is tiny. On that first episode, I think Ekin-Su made a comment about someone's body being slightly bigger than and not having abs. And it's like, oh my God, no wonder it feeds into every ounce of my being. Like just monitoring my own self, looking at other people's and just being obsessed with it.
Yeah. Also, that's like a trait that picked up from the noughties, because so many times people would like be on diets and put photos of them or someone fat on the fridge, and like the phrase you're not hungry, you're thirsty, have a glass of water, being used so many times that I was like, oh, what's the matter if I do eat?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then you're kind of like conditioned from an early age to have these kind of like, you know, these issues.
Yeah. It's like we're so far away from like accepting and embracing the natural process of getting older.
That is so weird though.
Which is so sad.
Yeah. I think it's just, I just can't fathom what you guys are telling me right now, because I do feel like culturally back at home, the whole image thing with somebody's appearance, we don't really care about it.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, I feel like we're so like, food is basically our joy. So if you want to eat, you eat. I think for us, it's the bigger you are, the more wealthier you are, the more, you know, rich, you have more life, radiance. But also, of course, there's like health risks. Of course, you don't want to be too big. But there's never an emphasis of, oh, that person's too skinny, that person's too big. Do you know what I mean? There's like a nice, or more inclusive.
Yeah.
So as a child, I've never ever thought, no, I need to lose weight, or I can't eat like that. I've never had that kind of thought. And it's crazy as well, when I used to watch things like super size versus super skinny, I'm just like, why are we focusing on that?
Yeah.
Like if it's not like a huge health issue, like what's it called, anorexia or being obese, I hear that. But then in regards to like conditioning society on this is right, this is bad, you need to look this type of way, it's like kind of like a dictatorship of how you should live your life, which I personally feel like is detrimental.
Yeah, it was. And like it's so like you say, like super size versus skinny, or like that guy would go around saying, I'm about to meet one of Britain's fattest families.
Yeah.
Like just constant like shows
the
about
test
weight
tube
loss.
for the food. I think that is absurd to me.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Would you say that's stayed the same now? You're not as...
I feel like now it's more, I wouldn't say weight wise, I really do not care, because it's one of them ones where as a female as well, hormones, we go through a lot. When you get pregnant, I'm not going to look the same way. Do you know what I mean? There's always that kind of thought, you're never going to look the same as yesterday. You're always going to be different.
This is the thing. Like, I think what we forget, and what, like, from my experience, I forget when I think back to, I need to get to my smallest weight, like when I was like 19, is like we get a second puberty in our 20s, so we're reaching maximum bone mass, like our maximum strength, our maximum muscle mass. Everything about our body is physically changing, and there we are trying to just regress back to our younger self, back to a body that isn't going with the way that our body is naturally moving through time.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just chasing that insatiable need to look younger, and
But that again, I think boils down to the fact of a representation of older women throughout up until maybe past 5 years has always been, once you reach 30, 30's it, you're over. Like, look at the Golden Girls. They're only 40.
Who's the Golden Girls?
It's like a TV show from like the 80s.
Okay.
And they're only 40 years old, but they're dressed up like they're nanas. And your perception is like, this whole idea is like of Hollywood. Like they only focused on like young stars, young celebrities. That's all you saw. So everyone thinks like, oh, I need to look like that again. I need to be that age. And everyone is so, I guess, in this belief system that your golden years are your 20s, and then if you can't remain or hold on to that, your life's not the same, which is, I think, the bullshit.
Yeah. I think within this conversation as well, it's been so interesting to look at like the tabloids' responsibility for the way they position our thoughts about weight. So like the headlines I was looking at this week is like Katie Price apparently on Ozempic, fans are extremely concerned. And then they'll say Googlebook star, even for men, Googlebook star has got so thin that fans comment, you've gone too far now, no more. And it's like they'll always position it in a way that like fans are showing concern for the way a person is looking or losing weight. That is so backhanded because one, it assumes that like
everyone is thinking that.
Everyone is thinking that. And also if they had people around them, friends and family, that really, hopefully they would be really concerned about the way they were looking or losing weight, I'm sure they would listen to that rather than 100 strangers.
But like the Daily Mail has an obsession with Ozempic. I typed in the Daily Mail the other day, 30 articles with Ozempic in the title in the last 7 days.
Obsessed.
30 articles in 7 days over Ozempic, whether that's celebrities using it, celebrities accused of using it, people who have lost too much weight. And it all like the same with those articles are coming things like gaunt, not the same, unrecognizable. And it's kind of like, it's just perpetuating the same kind of like conversation that's then being had online that is giving people and fans the free pass to talk as much as they want about someone's weight and the way they look, which
I mean
ain't right.
If I feel like they use this, is it called a rhetorical question? It's not a rhetorical question. Like, would you wear this? Or have you seen this? This person did that. It's like, so it's even though let's say for instance, I'm just skimming. I don't read the newspaper, but I'm just skimming. But if I was to see something, would you wear this? Automatically, I'm on judging mode. So they use the language that makes you, even if you're not interested in it, it's not none of your concern. It will become your concern. Like just by the way they word certain things on the tabloids.
They love to use the word, as you said, unrecognizable. It's like that is just another word for they're going through a really hard time, possibly a breakdown, clearly having issues, but we're going to put unrecognizable. So all the comments are going, fucking hell, yeah, she does look different. It's just inciting this like impulse in people to engage and like start thinking and commenting and monitoring that those kind of photos, and it's so toxic. And talking about places like the Daily Mail and the Sun who come up with these articles, there was one that I found, and it was around the time of the Wicked premiere, and this guy had wrote
a guy.
Yeah, of course. This guy had wrote an article, and he said something like, there's a green skin trigger warning for Wicked, but what there really should be is a trigger warning for Ariana's weight. And he was just like, I was supposed to go to the Wicked premiere with my daughter, and things didn't end up happening, and thank God they didn't, because this is horrific.
There was so much conversation around Ariana's weight during the Wicked films.
God,
it was horrible.
It was awful, and it was everywhere. It was more about her weight than it was her actual successful role within 100%. This. She was actually asked by a French interviewer like how she deals with criticism about her weight and like her appearance, and she had a really good reply. She said that like from when she was 16, 17, she's been under a microscope, like literally been on a petri dish. And every time she has changed something within herself, which has been what people have said that she had wrong with her, there would be something wrong with that. And it made me think, like, we'd used to say her fake tan is too much, she looks way too dark, like it doesn't suit her complexion. Now she has completely fake tan free complexion, and she's really pale, and she's trying to do her makeup this way, and we're still saying that doesn't suit her.
Well, like even
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
100%, because even her weight was like questioned at one point. Like I saw a tweet the other day, it was like, back in, 5 years ago, you were saying Ariana Grande was too fat. Now you're saying she looks too skinny.
Yeah.
You all need to just like lay off talking about her. Especially,
Yeah.
I find it really hard as well. Like, I can't imagine how you feel as actual women, but like, it's really hard to watch, like, when women are doing amazing, but all they're talked about is their weight and what they look like, and like even like athletes and the difference between how male athletes are treated versus female athletes in terms of like the interviews or like the way that people commentate on them even online. I was like I read this article that said that like during the most recent Olympics, if the female athletes from America were just one team, they would have placed third overall in the entire global medal scale. And yet all that anyone talked about online was, why is the American volleyball team wearing leggings and not skimpy shorts? Why is Ilona May, is Ilona May a woman or a man? It's just all these
the comments on her post were horrific.
Horrific.
That actually put me off. Talking about athletics, it actually put me off playing tennis as a kid.
Really?
Well, not as a kid, when I was younger. Just because you see if you think about the Williams sisters.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. So for them, it's like they look manly in a dress. They look this. So I was thinking, I don't want to play tennis because I don't want broad shoulders. I don't want this.
Oh
so
my God,
it puts you off.
And they're it's crazy because they are the best tennis players of all time.
Right.
And yet all that anyone talks about is either their attitudes or the way they look.
Yeah.
Which is actually fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so true. You've just brought me back to a repressed memory.
See?
You know when you start going to the gym and I'd be like, I don't want to do weights, I look too bulky.
Yeah.
I look too thin.
Yeah.
Fuck that. We should want to look strong.
Yeah.
Right.
That is crazy.
I don't
That's
want
the
to.
thing
I don't
in my
want to
head.
work my back. I'll just do my legs.
Oh my
I'll
God,
do
so
work
right.
core.
That's so toxic.
Yeah.
But that was a
Crazy.
real thing. I'd be like, no, I don't want to
Yeah.
do weights. I'll stay away from that.
I have this thing, sorry not to butt in, but that's so relevant because I still struggle with that. And my friend Lizzie is like so into weight training and like going against what the female
norm.
body should look
Love
like.
that.
And we were out in a club dancing, and a guy came up to him and was like, by the way, I just want to say your back is incredible, like it looks so good, you're so ripped. And I was like, if I'd had that compliment of the word ripped, I'd be offended.
Yeah.
But she was like, I am so buzzing that a man has like noticed this about me, like, but she was really empowered by it.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, it's so yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all down to like, especially so it's not just appearance, it's the gym. It's when you're at work. We're always on the camera as well, so I'm guessing our heads are going like back and forth. Oh my God, I don't look right, I don't want to film. The whole gym situation, Williams sisters, that's enough for me to deter from like weight training. I wouldn't pick up a weight. I'm like, I'll go in, do one thing, or just do cardio, burn the fat, go home.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
it.
That's crazy. Like a lot of little things will kind of like pick at you, and you won't know until you sit down. Like, oh yeah, the reason why I don't do that is because of X, Y, Z.
Nearly all the female athletes. I feel like a lot of people were focusing on like the female athletes that had their nails done, their hair done, and they had to kind of present overly feminine, so they weren't being accused of. A lot of the amount of athletes in the last one were accused of like what their gender was, or like having too manly features, and it's like they're just women who are brilliant at what they do.
Yeah.
Why can't you celebrate that?
That's so true. Yeah. Why do you have to have the longest, most beautiful nails or like the most iconic hair to be noticed?
Exactly.
And obviously in a world obsessed with image and our bodies and things like that, it's no fucking wonder this is fed into like how obsessed we are with our beauty regime and like our skincare routines. So I was reading an article as well this week, and there's a new phrase that's been created called beauty burnout. And I tell you what, I absolutely relate to it. I'll read it out. So with endless pressure to conform to aesthetic ideals, the pursuit of perfection is leaving many women feeling drained, financially strained, and emotionally overwhelmed. Yeah. And it's like these kind of routines are sold to us on social media as an act of self-love. But at this point, when you're feeling guilty because before you go to bed you haven't done your fucking 5-step routine for your morning shed.
But you've seen a 12-year-old do it.
You've seen a 12-year-old do it, and you've not woken up an hour earlier to be able to do all these things, and you're paying so much money for your nails, your eyelashes, your hair. your skincare.
This is wild to me. 'Cause I didn't realise until the other day like how expensive getting your eyebrows is done.
The
It's
pressure.
so expensive.
I don't even do it anymore.
No, I don't. I said to my friends like, why do you do it? Why do you like? I feel like I mean, up to you if it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because A, everyone else is doing it, and B, you feel like you have to do it, I don't think you should feel like you have to do it because eyebrows is the last thing I think
it's
of.
easier said than done because there
100%.
was a whole period where eyebrows were the it thing. Like you look at magazine eyebrows on TV eyebrows. This new eyebrow trend, thick eyebrows. I think there was a time where I was laughing because I was bullied in school because of my thick eyebrows, right?
Really?
Yeah.
They used to call me Frankenstein because of my eyebrows. And they did. And I remember starting secondary school and my eyebrows were like the other way around, like they were just messy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was known for, the girl with the eyebrows. So coming out of school now, and now see thick eyebrows are in.
Yeah.
Oh, Christie.
Cara Delevingne.
Right. I love your eyebrows. And I literally sat there, I said, you mother bleepers, because you guys nearly pushed me to the point where I was like, I want to get them cut. I said, no, I'm going to stand by it.
Yeah.
I was born this way. I'm unique
Come on,
in a
Lady
reason.
Gaga.
So I'm going to, come on, Gaga. So I'm going to stay with them. And it's funny because it's like a lot of things, stuff like that. People just, oh my God, this new eyebrow
It all
thing is
changes.
in. Why are you not following the trend?
Yeah.
Following the trend will push you to
Oh
become,
my God.
get that burnout of
Yeah.
beauty burnout. And I'm so happy that I stuck with it. And I feel like because of that experience that I had with my eyebrows, I've never conformed to the whole,
That's
I need
so
to
good.
buy this, I need a new makeup. I really don't. If anything, it's only because of what we do at work that I wear makeup.
Yeah.
On a normal day, my headscarf is on. I do not look like this.
Yeah.
Trust and believe. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I love that.
And that's
though.
how I am. Ever since that eyebrow experience, I was like, yeah, I'll rock my Frankensteins.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I took
Yeah.
a fucking my mum's razor to
Did
my
you?
monobrow so many times in middle school.
Yeah.
And nowadays people embrace that.
Oh my God. I just brought back my memory. But I remember like going through puberty and I started getting hairy legs and I was like, no one else has hairy legs. So I shaved them and they've never grown back.
What?
Oh my God. I wish that happened to me.
The legs on my hair.
Stop.
Oh, yeah.
none.
Oh my God.
Our friend
we
has
can't
longer leg hair than Billy.
Like, grow it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking wild. I don't know. I love the way that you kind of view that and you
Yeah.
don't feel that pressure inside. But it's so weird the way, I don't know if I'm a 12-year-old at heart, 12-year-old Sephora kid, but like the kind of impulse rush of adrenaline I get when I fixate on something that I see online or a product
Yeah.
and it's like, here's an instant fix for so-and-so. Like this might be a bit vulnerable, but the other night I was like looking at my pores in the mirror and I'm really angry at my skin at the moment. It's so imbalanced. My pores are massive. I'm obviously aging. Apparently it's a thing that your pores get bigger. Things like sun damage all affect that as well. And I went through my camera roll and I found this like set of photos from 2023 where
Yeah.
my makeup looked banging. My skin looks amazing. My skin looks flawless. And I was obsessively looking at these photos. I was going through my emails to find order confirmations from 2023 so I could see the exact skincare, the exact makeup I used to try and
Yeah.
replicate that and, regress back to my younger self. And this like adrenaline that's going through me as I'm doing that whole thing is like, oh my fucking God, relax. Like
Yeah.
I just became obsessed with it. And it's the same thing that you get when you see on social media, something that you think is going to provide you with instant happiness. Like that's what we're all going through right now.
Yeah.
But also-
And it leads to burnout.
Yeah, like what you're saying there though, like that ties in really nicely to what you were saying earlier about wanting to be the weight you were at 17.
Yeah.
Like you're treating your relationship with like your skincare almost the same as like your weight. And, like,
100%.
how can we?
But it's no wonder it feeds into everything.
Exactly. Yeah, like everything is just kind of like you're constantly on social media just being fed new products, this product, rating this, I hate this, this is great, use this, buy this.
Yeah.
And you're constantly feeling like you have to have something new. Like maybe we just all just delete TikTok and be happy and fat and have sex and not give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you just see those videos of like, I'm 34, but I'm told I look 21. Here's the reasons why.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you know what it is? I think I've learned to not hone in on FOMO. Like
Yeah.
fear of missing out, fear of missing out. Oh my God, you need to get the next new trend or the next new... I feel like that for me put me in a very dark place before where it's just like, I'm not as great as this best person. I need to be like this, or I need to look like that, or I need to get, for instance, I need to get my teeth. A lot of people have done their teeth. I need to
Yeah.
get my teeth done. I was like, no, I actually don't. I just need to like, do you know, if it works for them, it works for them. But
Yeah.
for me personally, I've not had a problem with it. Like,
Good.
fair enough, I might
Good
not
for
have
you.
the latest, foundation or X or Z, but I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, it's all right. There's other means.
It does all boil down to like the media that you consume,
Yeah.
whether that's in tabloid form or whether that's social form.
Yeah.
If you're constantly like watching and seeing like people with all this money spend so much money on
much
their
money.
nails, their
They
hair,
do.
their eyebrows, their skin,
Yeah.
their pores. Everyone's constantly comparing themselves.
Yeah.
I was speaking to my friend at the weekend, and she said that she's deleted Instagram, doesn't really use TikTok anyway, because she was finding that she was getting into a state where like she was constantly comparing people to these lives, and then she had to take a step back and realize actually she'd just moved to like this beautiful cottage in like the countryside. That's always been what she wanted. And actually she was like, why am I getting jealous over people who live a different life that I've never wanted? And I'm she's so much happier for it.
Yeah.
Because comparison is the thief of joy.
it's true.
Trust me.
It's
I'm getting that
true.
tattooed on my ass.
This is amazing. This is
Love
true. I think something as well that we forget when we see these, like, 5 to 9 to 4, my 9 to 5. I've done 75 hard and I've stuck to it
Yeah.
every single day. Didn't fuck it up once. What we're forgetting is in our 20s, we naturally gain weight. We go from like being in our teens, having a really active lifestyle, having fucking PE on my
Yeah.
schedule a
Every-
week.
Yeah.
It completely changes, and we're sedentary, we're
office
working a
jobs.
9 to 5 office jobs. We don't have that ability to move around as much as we want, and we're following influencers who their fucking day job is to do whatever they want, go to
the
Pilates
gym.
at any time they want to
Yeah.
do, and you really need to remember that.
100%.
Like-
yeah.
And another thing as well, they've actually coined a term for this obsession with like skincare regimes. In 2025 they're calling it dermorexia. Like, we're harming both our skin and our mental health, being so obsessed with like
Yeah.
catering to 12 different products that aren't specifically suited for you.
Yeah.
And one thing I've kind of learned through this whole process of like, I'm obviously a beauty content creator, when I see something like this and I see a 12-year-old using upteen products in
Yeah.
their routine, and I go rush to the Sephora website or the Cult Beauty website to buy it, 10 minutes. So I'll get it up and then I'll give myself 10 minutes to come back to it. And in that 10 minutes, when my impulse and adrenaline has calmed down from that excitement of changing something about myself,
Yeah.
and it isn't there, don't buy it.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
And then
Yeah.
almost every time you don't care. It's just that excitement in the moment of just like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to get this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, actually no.
I need that for clothes.
Me too. And I've been doing that with ASOS.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm trying not to buy any clothes now.
I'm just trying to be a bit more mindful.
Yeah, mindful. Like, how much do I actually want it? Do I really like it? Was it going to bring me joy, and am I going to use it multiple times?
Yeah.
Probably not, but I will buy it still.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think are other ways in which you could protect yourself from these?
One of the ways I think I'm learning to protect myself is catering Instagram and TikTok to a more inclusive feed, trying to get rid of like people that are just gonna make me jealous and make me feel like, why don't I have that kind of lifestyle, why don't I look like that, and kind of stick to more like the things that I do enjoy, which is, places out in London that I would like to visit, ideas for making something creative. Book talk. I'm currently reading some books at the moment,
Book talk,
which is
I
quite
like that.
nice, and just funny stuff. Like, I want to still enjoy social media because I think it can be a great platform for a little bit of fun, sharing what you're doing with your life. But I think the toxicity of it needs to be curated out,
Yeah.
and only you can do that because you know what triggers you.
Yeah.
Great shout.
That's a good one. I think I would say for me personally is I have this term which is called let it marinate. So let yourself marinate, which basically means sometimes give yourself time off certain things. So for instance, social media, I have an obsession with EastEnders. I've not watched EastEnders for the past like 3 weeks now.
Do you?
Yeah, I've not been watching it. So I think removing yourself out of situations helps you to reflect. It's kind of like self-analyze, self-reflection, journal how you're feeling, and literally just be in tapped with self. I do feel like when you're in the world or in like the social media presence, because there's so much like going on, you can't hear yourself think.
Yeah.
So I feel like putting yourself on the side, let yourself marinate.
Yeah.
You know, like you're seasoning chicken. Let the flavors sink in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let
Love
yourself
that.
marinate, and then when you are ready to be cooked, or when you're ready to like come back into like social media, then you go in there with a different type of perspective.
I'm currently
Perspective.
marinating.
I think I am as
Marinating,
well.
yeah.
I've not been like what I've been doing this month is instead of seeing what everyone else is doing on Instagram, I've kind of like I go on it, but as soon as I go on it, I turn off of it.
Yeah.
And I've just been taking little videos every day, inspired by like your little Vlogmas. And then at the end of the month, I'm just going to share what I've done in one video as a kind of roundup. And
That's
that's
nice.
not going to be for anyone else, but my friends and family and for me.
Yeah. I have decided to delete TikTok. I miss you guys. No, purely because
When?
I just did it like last week.
Wow.
Purely because
So you've not been
I-
seeing all the TikToks I sent you last night?
No. It's because, no, hear me out. It's because I would tell myself I spend a lot of time on TikTok because it brings me joy and it makes me laugh. And it does do that. But I haven't been in a good mental health space. And I have been using TikTok to numb how I'm
yeah.
feeling. And I've not even been getting those rushes of dopamine that I keep talking about as making me happy. I can't remember the time I last laughed at a TikTok.
It's been
Probably when it got
dry.
banned in America.
Oh no, Commonwealth TikTok was quite good.
What's that?
Commonwealth TikTok.
I wasn't on that.
Oh, that was...
See, that's what I mean. I was on a dark side of it, and I feel like I was scrolling and I was scrolling and I was doing nothing to nourish my own soul. I wasn't reading. I wasn't going out and exercising. I wasn't utilizing my evenings as a way to wind down from work. And I feel like the minute that I decided to take that stand, it's like it's been a chain reaction of just like me feeling like I'm caring for myself and my brain. And I'll come back to it at some point.
Yeah.
But for now, it's like reflection that I'm watching other people's lives too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
So Lauren's marinated. When Lauren comes back, she gonna be tasty and famous.
Oh, you fucking
Lime,
wait.
lemon and herb.
You
Yeah,
marinate him, baby.
You're fucking mango alive.
Salt and pepper.
Paprika.
Paprika's spicy.
Because you're a bit spicy.
Spicy.
Yeah, just
If you had to be a
marinate.
spice, what would you be?
A spice.
Yeah, what spice? would
You know I
be?
can't take spice. Sweet chili.
Sweet chili.
Sweet chili.
Peri peri.
Peri peri.
Peri peri. Maybe.
You don't know any herbs.
No spices.
Nando sponsor us. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, Nando's. We love you.
Well, thank you so much for that chat today, peeps.
Love
I feel like
that.
I got some stuff on my chest.
That was almost like a therapy session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it
really
was.
enjoyed that.
It was. And I really love the way you think.
Thanks, guys. It took a long time to get there, but I'm glad that I'm here now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, click for that.
And I love the way you think, but you are a boy.
Yeah. Am I?
Well, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. If you have any dilemmas or any thoughts on today's episode, send them to us at teaatfour@junglecreations.com or slide into our DMs on all our platforms. Follow our new Instagram, teaatfour, and we will see you next week. Bye.